Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to Bhagavatam class on this morning, 15th of April, 2024. We offer my prayers. Narayanam namaskritya naram shaivam narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam utirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशधारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ज्ञानानंदमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकामाधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवम्। So today we are going to read from Canto 3, Chapter 15, text number 7. Tesham supaka yoganam jitasvasendrayatmanam labda yusman prasadanam nakutaschit prabhavaha. Tesham supaka yoganam jitasvasendrayatmanam labda yusmat prasadanam nakutaschit prabhavah. Tesham, of them, supakva yoganam, who are mature mystics, jita, controlled, swasa, breath, indriya, the senses, atmanam, the mind, labda, attained, yusmat, your, prasadana, mercy, na, not, kutaschit, anywhere, prabhavaha, defeat. Translation: there is no defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling the breathing process, and who are therefore experienced mature mystics. This is because by such perfection in yoga, they have attained your mercy. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The purpose of yogic performances is explained here. It is said that an experienced mystic attains full control of the senses and the mind by controlling the breathing process. Therefore, controlling the breathing process is not the ultimate aim of yoga. The real purpose of a yogic performance is to control the mind and the senses. Anyone who has such control is to be understood to be an experienced, mature mystic yogi. It is indicated herein that a yogi who has control over the mind and senses has the actual benediction of the Lord, and he has no fear. In other words, one cannot attain the mercy and benediction of the Supreme Lord until one is able to control the mind and senses. This is actually possible when one fully engages in Krishna consciousness. A person whose senses and mind are always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord has no possibility of engaging in material activities. The devotees of the Lord are not defeated anywhere in the universe. It is stated, Narayana Para Sarve. One who is Narayana Para, or a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not afraid anywhere. whether he is sent to hell or promoted to heaven. Bhagavatam 6:17-28. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कथं तथाति स्वपदान्तिकं वाञ्छः कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Welcome devotees, I seek all your blessings. I seek the blessings of my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada and our deity Shri Nitai Gaurachandra to speak something meaningful on this about this verse. This is very inspiring words when I had an opportunity to read and prepare for this. Confidence building words. Lot of topics, but I am not qualified to talk. The reason is the way in which Srila Prabhupada has written and way I am acting is totally exactly opposite about controlling the mind and senses. So Krishna has orchestrated me to talk so that I become a perfect example of how not to be in a very practical purpose. So let me give my attempt to try to give a justification on these words. So here the translation is starting, there is no defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling the breathing process, and who are therefore experienced, mature mystics. And this is because by such perfection in yoga and have attained your mercy. So, no defeat in this material world. So this means this material world, the nature of the material world is dukkhalem asashvatam. We have read about the nature of the material world, which is very chaotic, where quarrel and discrepancy are predominating. And in this material world, there is always a tendency for rat race competition. People try to be agitated and do a lot of things. Very Srila Prabhupada says this is entanglement. Entanglement, yeah, the nature of the world, nature of the material world makes us more entangled, making one, chasing for one after another for the benefit of family, friends, relatives, whatever it may be. Those are the circumstances that that dominates in this material world, and it makes us to get more entangled. Few days before, I woke up when my wife was hearing a short clipping of Srila Prabhupada, where he was discussing, I don't know what lecture and all those things, but he was talking, this material world is chaotic, and because of family, friends, our ego is triggered and we get into more entangled nature. So that is the thing. Does it mean that there is no requirement for family, friends, and thing? No, everything has a purpose and everything should be used at the right amount and at the right regulative principles. So when we use, then it is best. When we neglect the prescribed, because the doctor, once he gives the prescription, when the intake of the prescription should be according to the prescribed regulations. If we try to do something whimsically, it is not going to work. It is either under or over. So everything has a purpose, including family, friends, and other things that we are dealing in this material world. So we have to be quite careful about understanding who, where, when principles and deploy them properly. So that will make our life balanced in this material world. So here it is said that the purpose of yogic performance, it is said, it is an experienced mystic attains full control of senses and mind by controlling the breathing process. So mystic yogi, they are very expert in nature and they control the breathing process. They control the breathing process in order to control the mind and senses. So the ultimate goal or the ultimate milestone is controlling the mind and senses. And the instrument they use is to controlling the breathing process in order to control the mind. So it is a small analogy is like spring has started, weather is getting better, you have a bike, and for your bike you have to pedal in order to move from one place to other. Your destination may be to ISKCON Nepal temple. That is the destination. But pedaling is required to go from here to the temple. So pedaling is just an instrument. So controlling the breathing process is just an instrument. There are many ways. One of the prominent way is by controlling the breathing process. Another way is people try to control is through candle meditation, mantra meditation, mantala, so many things that has been practiced. But the yogi who are expert, they control the breathing process in order to control the mind and senses. That is the expert nature of the yogi who controls the mind and senses. So why is this mind and senses has to be controlled? Here, anyone who has control over the mind and senses has the actual benediction of the Lord. This is inbound and outbound. If you control inbound, if you control the mind and senses, okay, the outbound is you get the actual benediction of the Lord. And both are interdependent. You cannot control the mind and senses. There is no way to even think about controlling the mind and senses without the mercy of the Lord. Because you don't know what is the mind and senses until a devotee sparkles or sprinkles something on us without the mercy of a devotee. There is no way to understand about the mind and the senses. We don't even bother to think about the mind and senses. I'm trying to speak practically based on my experience. So this is where Guru Padashraya is very much required. Only when the mercy of a Guru or through the representative of a Guru who comes in our life and sprinkles some akshata on our head and say that escape. When we hypothetically we say, how are you doing? I'm doing really great. I'm doing fine. But the reality is, how are we doing? I'm suffering. And that can be identified only by the representative of a God or Srila Prabhupada, who can pull us and take us from the suffering to the safer land and give some benediction. And the benediction is what is the mind and what is the senses. Why you have to control that? Because by controlling that, you are going to get the mercy of the Lord. So it is, the dependency is pretty strong. And one who has the dependency, and one who is bestowed by the mercy of the Lord has no fear. whether it is a material world or spiritual world, whether it is heaven or hell in the material world, because he is absorbed in the Narayana Para. He is totally absorbed. So there is no requirement for a fear factor. And that is the outcome of a person's who has pretty much control over the mind and senses. And the mystic yogi, the experienced person who take this process seriously and who utilizes the control of breathing to control this mind and senses, his or her mind and senses. So this world, even what's that? Manushanam Daiva Matrena. So when let's speak about the higher personalities, even the supreme personality of a Godhead and his consort, when Sri Ramachandra and Sita Devi, when Sita Devi was in the Ashoka Vana and in the Sundarakanda, when Sri Hanumanji, he went to meet Sita Devi, she is asking Hanuman, is the Ramachandra even thinking of me? She is the goddess of fortune. She is the consort, but the mind tricks. The mind tricks the human beings. And is she even thinking of me? Okay. And Sri Ramachandra, he was also devastated of losing Sita Devi. He's searching here and there, not eating. He's been constantly bitten by mosquitoes, insects. He's not taking any care. He's absorbed, like the attachment. It's so strong and bewildering, even for the great personalities. It is possible in this material world. What to speak of ourselves? So this is very important, where we have to take the shelter, constant shelter. Any slips can happen, and the Lord is looking for our dependency, and Lord is looking for our relationship. Until you ask, I will not intervene. This is when in the pastimes of Ramayana, during the Kakasura pastime, when Sita was dealing with the crow, Ramachandra didn't involve until he was asked by Sita. Like Ramachandra didn't involve himself. Only when Sita Devi asked, he took a blade of a grass and converted into an astara and put it on the crow, and that astara was like Brahmasura, and he chased the crow all the way, and finally it shouldn't go waste, even though it had the crow surrendered, but in order to teach a lesson, it took an eye of a crow. So similarly, in Krishna's pastimes, in Draupadi's pastime, until she raised her hand and say, "Hey, Govinda," nothing happens. The Lord, think about in our life. I know many of us are constantly requesting me, talking to me, and sometimes when they don't talk, I don't even respond, because, well, let them talk. if I have that attitude, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead is not obligated to come, oh, Sacisuta is dealing this, I have to come down and do. He is so merciful. He is willing and helping there. But the relationship is important, that I need to ask, hey Lord, hey Bhagavan, Sri Ramachandra or Sri Nitai Gaurachandra, I'm struggling. It is not that easy and I cannot handle on my own. Please, please give me the intelligence. Please pitch in and guide me. This guided process is very important. Sometimes the mind tricks, whether it is the super soul action or it is whether it's super soul saying or the mind is saying this. We cannot distinguish on our based experience. So we need the guided process from the scriptures. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra are important for us to understand and take it. So this can be achieved when we take absolute shelter in Krishna consciousness. A person who is guided and who is practicing Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada affirms very firmly that he has no fear in this material world, even though the material world can be chaotic, whether it is heaven or hell. This verse was giving a lot of confidence and faith nurturing, stating that to our capacity, we can absolutely involve and practice Krishna consciousness. And it is going to help the controlling of mind and senses, which in turn is going to give the benedictions of a Lord. It is going to attract the Lord's attention, because we are doing, because one of the devotee of the Lord has recommended this process and we are trying. So the Lord is not directly recommended this process to Sacisuta Das who lives in Bolingbrook or to other devotees. It is one of his devotees has said, and we are trying to attempt to our capacity. So that is going to draw the attention of the Supreme Lord. So thank you very much, Prabhu Mataji, for giving me the opportunity to talk. If there are any corrections or discussions, we can take this time and use it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. It was a very, um, 2 points for me to take away are one is, realizing the importance of devotees in our lives, and we are here because of them. And the second point, which you beautifully brought about, application point for me is that I need to ask for help. Yeah, so thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. I was just thinking about the second point. What Mataji mentioned. I mean, of course, the Lord knows what we want, but unless we ask, I think it is not going to get it. Even, I mean, there is some saying in our language, right? I mean, even a mother doesn't give food unless the child, I mean, ask. Of course, the mother knows sometimes, but yeah, sometimes it will be difficult to understand, right? So we have to ask. So, I mean, we need to know what is required from the Lord, so we should pray. I mean,
Don't
of
limit
course,
only with Mother Prabhu. Ask to on the safer side to get what we want. Yeah. Thank you very much for providing opportunity to speak. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada